राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण. So we are discussing Dhruva Maharaj's fight with the yakshas. Hmm. Minute. So we discussed till the 14th shloka.
16, Prabhu.
16, eh?
Yeah. Start with 17.
17. Okay. So Dhruva Maharaj uh, was single-handedly fighting with the yakshas. The yakshas, each of the yakshas shot 6 arrows about on Dhruva Maharaj. Like a mountain is covered by the rains, Dhruva Maharaj was practically covered by the arrows of yakshas. But by that analogy, it is also indicated that when the rainfall falls on the mountain becomes cleansed. It will eventually become more effulgent, more pure. So it was indicated that Dhruva Maharaj will come out victorious, even though he was being covered by the arrows of yakshas. The Dhruva Maharaj began to shoot incessant arrows, shattering all their different weapons, just as the blasting wind scatters the assembled clouds in the sky. 17th shloka. तस्य ते चाप निर्मुक्ता
तस्य ते चार्पनिर्मुक्ता
भित्वा वर्माणि रक्षसाम्
भित्वा वर्माणि रक्षसाम्
कायान् आविविशुस्तिग्मा
कायान् आविश्विषुस्तिग्मा
गिरीनशनयो यथा.
गिरिनशयनो यथा. The sharp arrows released from the bow of Dhruva Maharaj pierced the shields and the bodies of the enemies, like the thunderbolts released by the King of Heaven, which dismantled the bodies of the mountains.
This verse gives a description of how Dhruva Maharaj's arrows caused injury to the bodies of the yakshas. Tasya te chapa nirmukta. Chapa means bow. Chapa nirmukta, from the arrows released from his bow. Bhitva varmani rakshasam. The rakshas, varma means the armors. The armors were pierced by his arrows. Kayan avi vishu. After piercing the armors, the arrows entered their bodies. Analogy is given. Girin ashanayo yata. Like a sharp thunderbolt piercing the mountains. So previously, you see the interesting analogy. When the yakshas shot arrows on Dhruva, the analogy was that rainfall falling upon the mountain, rainfall covering the mountain. By that, eventually the mountain will come out even more pure. But here, Dhruva Maharaj piercing the shouting arrows at the yakshas, that is compared to the thunderbolt piercing the mountains. So he attacked them like thunderbolts attacking the mountains. That means the arrows of the yakshas were insignificant to Dhruva, like rain to the mountain. Rain is insignificant for the mountain. Similarly, the arrows of the yakshas were insignificant for Dhruva. It only increased Dhruva's desire to counterattack. And the rain simply washes the mountain and makes it appear more bright. But the arrows of Dhruva for the yakshas, towards the yakshas, they were significant for the yakshas. They took away the lives of the yakshas because the arrows of Dhruva were compared to the thunderbolt. Thunderbolt has the power to destroy the mountain. Thunderbolt can destroy the mountain. So they took away the lives of the yakshas like thunderbolt piercing the mountains. Next shloka. Bhallai sanchidymananam
Bhallai sanchidymananam
shirobishcharu kundalaihi
shirobhishcharu kundalai
urubir hematalabhair
purubhir hematalabhair
dorbir valaya valgubihi
durbhir valaya valgubihi
harakeyura mukutair
harakeyura mukutair
ushni shaischa mahadhanaihi
pushni saicha mahadhanai
astrutasta ranabhuvo
astratasta ranabhuvo
rejur veeramanoharaha.
rejur veeramanoharaha. Translation. The great sage Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, the heads of those who were cut to pieces by the arrows of Dhruva Maharaj were decorated very beautifully with earrings and turbans. The legs of their bodies were as beautiful as golden palm trees. Their arms were decorated with golden bracelets and armlets, and on their heads there were very valuable helmets bedecked with gold. All these ornaments lying on that battlefield were very attractive and could bewilder the mind of a hero.
So we see that further description is given. The battlefields which are attractive to the minds of the heroes. Rejur Veera Manoharaha. Veera Manoharaha. The real Kshatriya, he gets more excited when there is opportunity for battle. So every person, according to their psychology, they get excited by different opportunities. Like, for example, somebody is a businessman. He doesn't worry so much about taking risks in the business. Because one should take some calculated risk, but they don't worry so much about taking risks. Some devotees, they even if they lose some money, they have the confidence, so it can be earned. Like that. Somebody who is into Shastra, they are not afraid of learning, or they are not afraid of facing a question. So here the Kshatriyas are Veera Manohara. The battlefield is attractive to the minds of the heroes. That battlefield, the battlefields were covered with the yakshas' heads, severed by his arrows. Bhallai sanchidyamananam shirobis charu kundalaihi. Those yakshas' heads were having beautiful earrings, charu kundalaihi. Urubir hema talabir, with thighs like golden palm trees. Dorbir Valaya Valubhihi, with arms, armbands, crowns, necklaces, and bracelets, and valuable turbans. We see there is so much of violence taking place, but within the description of the violence, there is also a beauty. A panoramic beauty is described. In the Bhagavatam also, elsewhere in the Bhagavatam, for example, now we are going to celebrate Balaram Purnima. When Balaram ji killed the Dhenukasura, that time so many donkeys were killed, and there was a river of blood flowing. But Shukdev Goswami gives a very beautiful description of that whole scene. He says that, I'll just read the description. So Shukdev Goswami gives a very panoramic. The earth then appeared beautifully covered with the heaps of fruits and with the dead bodies of the demons, which were entangled in the broken tops of the palm trees. Indeed, the earth shone like the sky decorated with the clouds. There were so many dead bodies were there, but then within that violent scene, there was also beauty. Beauty was also described by Shukdev Goswami. Similarly, in the 10th canto, when Krishna was fighting with Jarasandha, Jarasandha came with 21 Akshauhini divisions. Krishna went with a small army and Krishna killed everyone except Jarasandha. You can imagine the amount of violence, amount of killing which have taken place. But Shukdev Goswami gives a description of that whole scene in a very poetic way, in a very beautiful way. So elsewhere in the Ramayana also, when Hanumanji was going to Lanka, the whole description is given by Valmiki Rishi in a very poetic manner. Hanumanji jumped from that mountain. What's the name of the mountain? Gandhamadhan, some mountain in Tirupulani. And at that time, so many trees were uprooted from the mountain. Many snakes came out of it. And the trees were uprooted and they started following Hanumanji like a guest, just like a host follows the guest for some distance outside the house. Like that, there is a violence was there, but within that violence, a beautiful description is there. So in that way, we see that Shastras, they don't shy away from describing the violent activities of the Supreme Lord or the pure devotees. But when the Lord and the pure devotees are involved, even those violence is actually spiritual, there is a beauty within that violence. Further, so Prabhupada says that it appears that in those days, soldiers used to go to the battlefield highly decorated with golden ornaments and with helmets and turbans. And they were dead. The booty was taken by the enemy party. So their falling dead was certainly a lucrative opportunity for the heroes on the battlefield. If the warrior comes with the Angavastra of the enemy, that is considered to be the great victory sign. If the warrior comes back to the kingdom losing his Angavastra, that means that means he has lost the battle. He has somehow ran from the battle. And if he has got the Angavastra of the opposite person, then that is a sign of great victory. Next shloka. Hatavashishta itare ranajirat.
Hatavasishta itare ranajirat.
रक्षोगणा क्षत्रियवर्यसायकैः
रक्षोगणा क्षत्रियवर्यसायकैः
प्रायो विवृक्ना वयवा विदुद्रु
प्रायो प्रायो विवर्षणा वयादा
विदुद्रुवुर्
विदुद्रु
मृगेन्द्रविक्रीडितयूतपा इव
मृगेन्द्रविक्रीडितयुतपायिवा. Translation. The remaining yakshas, who somehow or other were not killed, had their limbs cut to pieces by the arrows of the great warrior Dhruva Maharaj. Thus they began to flee, just as elephants flee when defeated by a lion.
So the remaining yakshas, they started fleeing from the battlefield. Hata avashishta. Avashishta means the remaining. Itare rana ajirad. They started fleeing. Kshatriya varya sayakaihi. Kshatriya varya sayakaihi. Prayo vivrukna vayava vidudruvuhu rakshogana. Okay. And then apashyamanasa tadatayinam mahamrude kanchana manavottamaha purim didrikshan apinavishadvisham na mayinam veda chikirshitam jana. Apashyamana. So then Dhruva Maharaj could not see any yakshas. Tada atatayinam. He could not see any other attackers, atatayis. Mahamrude, in that vast battlefield. So then Dhruva, who is the Manavottama, Manavottama means the best of the descendants of Manu. At that time, Purim Didrikshan, he desired to see the city of the Yakshas. But Purim Didrikshan Api, although he desired to see the city of the Yakshas, Na Avishad, but he did not enter the city. He did not enter the city. Why? Because Dvisham na mayinam veda chikirshitam janaha. Because Dhruva Maharaj thought that I don't know what the yakshas are planning after. Because they have the mystic powers. They are mayinam, they have mystic siddhis. They can act deceptively. I don't know the plan of the demons. Therefore, he did not enter the city. So we see that sometimes when there is victory, when there is some level of victory in an effort, it could be a battle, then oftentimes one becomes excited of that victory, one starts celebrating more. And then one may become careless about the other plans of the enemy. Therefore, oftentimes celebration should not be more than that is required. And also lamentation should also be not more than that is required. Neither celebrating more nor lamenting more. Yes, the emotion should be exhibited appropriate. Because when a person goes more into celebration mode, then or into lamentation mode, one becomes dull. Because of celebration, one may fail to notice the other plans of the enemy. So Dhruva Maharaj was very alert. He was intelligent. He could not see anybody in the battlefield. He desired to see the city of the Yakshas, but did not enter the city. Na mayinam veda chikirshitam jana. So Prabhupada's purport, there is no purport. Next shloka. Iti bruvam chitrarata swasaratim yatta paresham pratiyoga shankitaha shushrava shabdam jala deri veritam Nabasvato dikshu rajonva drishyata. So, iti bruvam chitraratasva saratim. So, Dhruva Maharaj started speaking to charioteer in this way, iti bruvan. And yatta paresham pratiyoga shankita. He was thinking about, he was worrying about the counter attack by the enemy. Pratiyoga shankita. So at that time, Shabdam Shushrava. Dhruva Maharaj heard a sound. And what was that sound like? Jaladehe iva iritam. The sound appeared to come from the ocean. Jaladehe iva iritam. Nabasvataha dikshu rajaha. Anvadrishyata. Anvadrishyata means he saw in dikshu, in all the directions. What did he see? Raja, he saw the dust in all the directions. Nabasvataha, caused by the wind. So we see yakshas, they started using the certain mystic powers. So Dhruva Maharaj had said that one does not know the plans of the deluding enemy. Chitrarataha. So usually when one battle is won, the next battle will be more difficult. The first battle was at least he could see the enemies visibly in front of his eyes. But when you cannot see the enemies in front of your eyes, that is a more difficult battle. Different competitive exams also, first level easy questions are given. But as you start answering that, then more and more difficult questions come. So Dhruva Maharaj could not see the enemy. And then Kshanena chaditam vyoma ganani kena sarvatah vispurat tadita dikshu trasya stanayitnuna. So Kshanena, within a moment, vyoma achaditam, the sky became covered. Gana anikena, Gana means cloud. Ganashyama, we say. Gana anikena sarvatah. Within a moment, the sky became covered with a mass of clouds. And not only the clouds, but with flashing lightning and the terrifying thunder. Vispurat tadita. Tadita means lightning. Trasyat stanayitnuna. Trasyat stanayitnuna. And also the thunder and lightning, both. Further, you can repeat. Vavrushu rudiraugasrik.
Vavrushu rudiraugashraka.
Puya vinmutra medasaha.
Puya vinmutra medasaha.
Nipetur gaganadasya.
Nipetur gaganadasya.
Kabandhanyagrato nagha.
Gabandhanya grottunagaha. Translation. My dear faultless Vidura, in that rainfall there was blood, mucus, pus, stool, urine, and marrow falling heavily before Dhruva Maharaj, and there were trunks of bodies falling from the sky.
Maitreya is addressing Vidura by the word Anaga, or sinless Vidura. Vavrushuhu means rained. Rudiraugasruk. There are torrents of blood, Rudira. and then so mucus, puya, wing, mutra, medasaka, stool, urine, and marrow. And then Gaganad means from the sky. Kabandan yagrato nipetuhu. Human trunks began to fall from the sky in front of Dhruva. So it refers to mucus and other components of the body. Asrik, asrik means the body that which does not release. It refers to mucus and other components of the body. It usually means blood, pus, etc. So we see that in a battle, the Kshatriya battle or the Brahmana battle. So Brahmanas, they engage in a debate with others. Kshatriyas, they engage in physical battle with the weapons. So when the opposite party is losing the battle, one of the signs that they are losing the battle is that, like we see here, the yakshas, they became invisible. But they became invisible and they started using mystic siddhis. It's a sign that they are actually afraid. They are actually afraid of losing the battle. So similarly, in a debate also, if you notice in many of the TV debates, Republic TV or Times Now, etc., many of the debates, when somebody is losing the debate, when he does not have a proper counter argument for the point raised by the opponent, what they will do? They will give a completely unrelated point to divert the attention only. So, for example, somebody raised a question to some Tamil Nadu minister about the status of the law and order in Tamil Nadu. So they will raise a question, like they will raise a question, what about what is happening in Manipur? Manipur, so much of violence is happening. But they don't have a proper answer to give. They don't have an answer. They don't have a right answer to give for the Tamil Nadu law and order situation. And at that time, what they will do? They will think about some Manipur issue, which is completely unrelated. So in that way, yakshas, because they were losing the battle, now without making themselves visible, they started showering some blood, urine, stool, all these things, and to confuse the people. So
Prabhuji,
there,
Prabhuji, in cricket also there is known as sledging.
yeah, sledging.
They do that also sometimes.
To divert the attention of the people. Therefore, it is important to be focused, like in a debate also. Even if the person tries to divert the subject matter to something else, you have to bring back. It is essential you bring back the subject matter to the main subject matter, and keep hitting that weak point of the person. So this kind of description comes elsewhere also. When Krishna was fighting with the Shalva, that time also after Shalva started losing, Shalva started implying some mystic siddhis. Suddenly, he actually produced the head of Vasudev as Krishna's father Vasudev, as if Vasudev had been killed, and he brought the head of Vasudev in order to divert the attention of Krishna. So like that, here the yakshas are diverting the attention. Further, tatake drishyata girir.
तथा के दृश्यत गिरिर
Nipetu sarvato disham.
निपेतु सर्वतो दिशम्
Gada pariga nistrimsha.
गदा परिग निस्त्रिंस
Musala Sashma Varshinaha.
Mushala Sashma Varsinaha. Next, a great mountain was visible in the sky, and from all directions hailstones fell along with lances, clubs, swords, iron bludgeons, and great pieces of stone.
So the weapons were falling from the sky, but the warriors were not seen. He saw a mountain in the sky, and the weapons were falling from all directions. And then, Ahayo Shani Nishwasa Vamantognim Rushakshibihi Abhyadavan Gajamatta Simha Vyagrascha Yutashaha. Snakes breathing thunderbolts and vomiting fire rushed to attack him with herds of mad elephants, lions, and tigers. Samudra Urmibir Bhima Plavayan Sarvato Bhuvam Ashashada Mahakrada Kalpanta Iva Bhishana. Fierce ocean flooding the earth all directions with waves, making a terrifying sound, approached him like the flood of water at the end of the Kalpa. Kalpanta Iva Bhishana. It appeared as if like the Pralaya Kala is coming. So, Evam Vidan Anekani Trasanan Amanasvinam Sasruju Stigma Gataya Asuriya Mayayasura. Evam Vidan Anekani. So, here it is explained that Stigma Gataya, the cruel natured yakshas. Stigma Gataya means the cruel natured yakshas. Asuriya, like the demons. Mayaya Asuraha created many such visions which are terrifying to the cowardly by their powers of illusion. Evam Vidan Anekan. In this way, they created various situations which will confuse the people. Trasanan Amanasvinam. So you have the word Manasvi. Manasvi means Manasvi means somebody who has a strong mind, who is very courageous, who has a strong mind. There's a verse in the Shukdev Goswami's prayer. What is shloka? Tapasvinam dana parayashasvinam manasvinam mantra vidassu mangala kshemam na vindanti vinaya darpanam tasmai shubhadrashravase namo namaha. So Manasvi means somebody who has a strong mind. That means somebody who is courageous. Manasvina means opposite. That means a cowardly. So all these tricks of the yakshas, they will cause confusion and fear to the people who are not strong-minded, who are cowardly in nature. These visions were terrifying to those without courage, Amanasvinam. And the yakshas were like the demons, Asurya, Mayayasura. So at that time, 29th shloka, Dhruve Prayukta Masurais, Dhruve Prayukta Masurais.
Dhruve Prayuktam Asuresh
Tammayamati Dustaram
Tammayam Atidustaram
Nishamyatasya Munaya
Nishamyatasya Munaya
Shama Shamsan Samagataha.
Sama Samsan Samagata. When the great sages heard that Dhruva Maharaj was overpowered by the illusory mystic tricks of the demons, they immediately assembled to offer him auspicious encouragement.
So we see here, Nishamya on hearing. Munayaha, the great sages, they heard. What did they hear? What did they hear? Dhruve prayuktam asurais tam mayam atidustaram. Tam atidustaram mayam. The yakshas had cast their magic, which was atidustaram, difficult to overcome, upon Dhruva Maharaj, Dhruve prayuktam. The sages, they heard about this. Then samagataha, they arrived there. Sham ashamsan. Sham means well-being. Ashamsan. The sages prayed for the well-being of Dhruva. Very important shloka. We see that a devotee, how a pure devotee like Dhruva, his well-being is sought by all the sages and also by the devatas. When a person becomes a devotee, devatas also look for the well-being of the person. Sham Ashamsan Samagata. They prayed for his well-being. The last shloka of this chapter, very important shloka. How they offered prayer. Munaya Vuchuhu.
Munaya Uchuhu.
Auttanapada Bhagavam Stava Sharngadanva.
Autanapada Bhagavan Stava Sarangadhanva
Sharngadanva. Devakshino Bhavanatartiharo Vipakshan.
Devakshino Tvavavan Devakshino
Devakshinotu.
Devakshino
Devakshino Bhavanatartiharo Vipakshan.
Devakshino Tvavaradvanatar Tartiharo Vipakshan
Yannamadheya Mabhidhaya Nishamya Chadha.
Yannamadheyam Abhidyaya Nishamya Chada
Lokonjasa Tarati Dustaramanga Mrutyum.
Loko Jasa Tarati Dustaram Agna Anga Mrityam.
It's a very important shloka. You can read translation.
All the sages say, Dear Dhruva, O son of King Uttanapad, may the Supreme Personality of Godhead know as Sarangandhava,
Sharngadanva.
Sarangandhava, who relieves the distresses of his devotees. Kill all your threatening enemies. The holy name of the Lord is as powerful as the Lord himself. Therefore, simply by chanting and hearing the holy name of the Lord, many men can be fully protected from fierce death without difficulty. Thus, a devotee is saved.
So the sages are praying to Krishna. The power of the prayers of the devotees. The sages are praying to Krishna for the well-being of Dhruva Maharaj. Auttanapada, they are addressing Dhruva by the word Auttanupada, that means the son of Uttanupad. O Dhruva. And then they are praying. They are praying. Bhagavan, may the Bhagavan, Krishna's bow is called as Sharanga. Therefore, Krishna is called as, one of the name of Krishna is Sharanga Danva. So Sharanga Danva refers to the Krishna who is the carrier of the bow called as Sharanga. May that Supreme Lord, who is the carrier of the Sharanga bow and who is Avanata Artihara. Arti means distress. Artihara means reliever of the distress. Avanata Artihara means reliever of the distress of the surrendered souls. May that Krishna, who is the reliever of the distress of the surrendered souls, Yan Namadeyam Abhidaya Nishamya. By hearing, Nishamya means by hearing. By hearing, or Abhidaya means chanting. By hearing or chanting Namadeyam, by that Krishna's name, by that Bhagavan's name, Lokaha, people, Anjasa, very easily, Dustaram Mrityum Tarati. They very easily cross the unsurpassable death. And may that Krishna, Deva, Vipakshan Shinotu. May that Krishna, Vipakshan, may that Krishna kill your enemies. Vipakshan Shinotu. In that way, they are praying to Krishna for the sake of Dhruva Maharaj. So simply by hearing and chanting Krishna's name, you can easily surpass the unsurpassable death. Yan namadheyam abhidaya nishamya dustaram mrityum anjasa taroti. Anjasa lokaha tarati. So the sages thought that if one can cross the death itself simply by hearing about the Lord, then Dhruva could easily overcome the yakshas' magic spell. Therefore, they made Dhruva Maharaj remember the Narayana weapon. They are reminding Dhruva Maharaj to use the Narayana weapon, because Narayana weapon is invoked by chanting the holy names of Lord Narayana. They are reminding him. So oftentimes, sometimes in the tense state, we actually forget what you have studied. For example, many times the exam also, we are told to go through in a peaceful state, because oftentimes, although we might have studied so much, but in the exam hall, when a person is too much tensed, one forgets what he had studied. Therefore, we need reminders. So Dhruva Maharaj, in this tense state, the sages are coming and reminding him to use the Narayana weapon, which is invoked by chanting the names of Lord Narayana. So let us read Prabhupada's purport. So the great rishis approached Dhruva Maharaj at a time when his mind was very perplexed due to the magical feats exhibited by the yakshas. The devotee is always protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And by the inspiration of Krishna, the sages came to encourage Dhruva Maharaj. So Krishna's help comes through the help of the devotees. And these devotees, they assured Dhruva that there is no danger, because he surrendered to Krishna. Avanata Arti Hara. So by the grace of Krishna, if a devotee at the time of death can simply chant his holy name, then simply by chanting this Mahamantra, he immediately surpasses the great ocean of the material sky, Dustaram Mrityum Tarati, and enters the spiritual sky. And he never has to come back for repetition of birth and death. Simply by chanting the holy name, one can surpass the ocean of death. So Dhruva Maharaj was certainly able to surpass the illogical, illusory, magical feats of the yakshas, which for the time being disturbed his mind. So we see that whatever may be the illusions or the magical tricks which may be coming, but the holy name is definitely powerful. They are reminding Dhruva Maharaj to invoke the holy name and thus invoke the Narayana weapon. There is one instance when Prabhupada was giving a Pandal program in Calcutta. So that Pandal program was suddenly attacked by certain communist gundas actually. There was a great commotion. So at that time, Prabhupada started, like, they didn't have so much of police power or something like that, but there was a violence started taking place. At that time, Prabhupada started loudly chanting the Brahma Samhita prayers. And he chanted so loudly with great conviction and such a purity, and people became, those gundas became afraid, and then they left that place. So definitely, the holy name is actually so powerful. One should never ever lose the faith on the holy name. Whatever may be the obstacles, which may come either from the external forces or from our own internal anarthas. But one should never stop chanting the holy names. The chanting of the holy name should go on at any cost. So therefore, the sages have come to remind the Dhruva Maharaj about the holy name to invoke the Narayana Astra. So this is, we can see that the illusion implied by the yakshas, that is like the Maya potency. But Daivi Kesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya Mamevaye Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarante. The illusion energy of Krishna is very difficult to overcome. But when a person surrenders to Krishna by chanting the holy names, one can definitely overcome that. With this, we come to the end of the 10th chapter. Next week, we begin the 11th chapter. Hare Krishna. Next week, probably we may have to have the class. Mostly evening 5:30 to 6:30 we may have to have. I'll let you know later. Shamukund Prabhu has shared a nice Bhakti Thakur's. Mind is wandering all over the universe when you chant. Chant anyway. Mind is wandering to the past and future, but chant anyway. You're not able to concentrate, but chant anyway. No taste, but chant anyway. Thirsty desire, chant anyway. Being offenses. No. No. Oh, thank you very much for sharing. Thank you. Thank you. Even the words of the Vedas do not possess sufficient power to describe its magnitude. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, thank you, Prabhuji.
So we'll end here. Thank you very much for everyone's attention. Nantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Kundi ki jai. Hare Krishna.